Hello, podcasters. I am Anastasia Gabriel Flores, and today I'm here with Anastasia Perez.
Anastasia gang.
And she is my friend and sorority sister. She's a sophomore here at Loyola in New Orleans, and she's majoring in history.
Hi.
Hi. Hey. And so today Anastasia and I were in the library, and we were just hanging out. And we were discussing many things, and somehow the topic of sexual assault came up, and she inspired me to share my story, which I didn't know that I would do. And I guess after finding out that we had such similar stories, I felt like we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
So,
full disclaimer, we're very lighthearted about this conversation. Like, it's not really like a deep emotional thing right now for us. It's kind of just sharing our stories, but also, being with each other and.
Right, because keep in mind this did happen 4 years ago, and now I'm in such a good place that I want to share my experience and how I got through it.
Yeah.
So if we are laughing or anything like that,
we're fine.
We're fine. But anyways, so I wasn't really sure if I was going to give the full story and details and everything, but I'm just going to do it anyways in hopes of helping someone else. So I don't want pity or anything. I'm just sharing.
Stop saying that.
So anyways, so my junior year in high school, I went to a party, and fast forward, was really intoxicated and somehow woke up, with someone on top of me. And then it's like in and out visuals of like being coherent and then not. And I remember telling this guy to get off of me. He was my age and I know who he is. And we went to a really small school, so I never imagined someone like this doing something like that to me, So it was something I was never exposed to, any of that anyways. And I remember telling him to get off of me, and he was like, let me finish. And that was really a lot to take in at the time. And so the next morning, after everything had happened, I just remember feeling completely empty. And I remember Anastasia saying that she, after this had happened to her, she felt very much so like her body wasn't hers anymore. And I really related to what you said.
It was a really weird feeling that I've never experienced before. Only that, after what had happened to me, we had very similar experiences. I'm not going to go into detail. I felt really disconnected from my body, like my mind from my body. I felt like, my mind was in a new body, very unfamiliar, uncomfortable body. Yeah. Very strange feeling, very like odd, uncomfortable feeling.
It's definitely a weird feeling to describe. And after it happened, I remember leaving the party drunk, drove my car to my friend's house drunk, and slept in their driveway. And when I was leaving, I remember the girl that owned the house being like, did you have fun? And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, everyone around me really doesn't care. Like, they don't know the extent of the situation. Super drunk, so I don't even know where my head was, but I was obviously emotional and knew that something wasn't right because I couldn't stop crying, and I knew that I had to leave that situation. So definitely, like, down the road, that made me lose trust with a lot of people that I was close to, and I went to a really small high school, so graduated in class of 22, so can you imagine how many friends I didn't have? Well, actually, there was, like, not a lot of people there, but still. So, So fast forward 4 years to maybe around August of this year, I still didn't tell many people. I told a few friends that I felt like I could trust, and none of them had went through any experience like I had went through or experienced sexual assault, so I really didn't have anyone to relate to the situation, and I kind of did just put it aside and not deal with it until I had to. I mean, I knew that I didn't want to deal with it until I was in a relationship, and I knew that I didn't like being touched or anything like that, and I felt like I didn't need to worry about it until I needed to worry about it. So, fast forward to August of this year, a close relative of mine actually, asked me to have dinner with them and drinks or whatever, and then when I was in a vulnerable state, I guess. I wasn't drunk or intoxicated or anything, but I definitely had a few drinks and was fine. They groped me, and I lost it because people, and keep in mind this person's like in their 40s, it's like people can think they can just get people drunk and like, you know, take advantage of them. And it had hope in this box, you know, like you said, where I had to deal with those problems. Like after that had happened the next day, like I told my mom and dad and I scheduled a therapy appointment. Like I was on another level. Like I definitely feel everything intensely, and I knew that I had to deal with it then and there. And, you know, when something like that happens to you, you definitely just want to, like, kill the person that's out there trying to be predator to someone. And, you know, this person was a relative of mine, has kids, has a wife, and I can't tell you who that is, but just know that there's people out there close to you that you know that are sexual predators. Like, it's
most of the time someone you know that is like the perpetrator.
Yeah, both situations. And I never, you don't ever know if you're ever going to experience this, but it's crazy when it's people close to you that do, for sure. And so after sharing my story with both my parents, which I never thought I would do, and I don't know why I didn't tell my parents the first time, but definitely when I did, I felt 10 times better just knowing that they knew, and then telling my grandparents. And you know, my grandma was like, this explains a lot, because I had been so distant, or like anytime they brought up anyone like relationships or anything, I was like, be quiet, like I don't want to talk about that, like just anything of that sort. And so after I finally told people, I started to feel 10 times better. And then going to therapy was its own experience in itself. Like, you know, therapy is definitely hard, like to find affordable therapy. Luckily, we have it for free on campus here at Loyola University if you're from here, if you go to school here. But, you know, finding the right therapist or finding someone close to you that you can talk to is really important. And so after talking to my therapist, I mean, going to therapy is just so important in itself, because we talked about, you know, sexual assault, but we also talked about like childhood traumas, or like anything that I had ever gone through that was significant. And it could be something so small that could stick with you for many years, and you won't even realize it until you go see someone that specializes in this. So, yeah.
And I'm really proud of you for what you've done to recover and get better.
Thank you.
That it takes a lot, especially to tell your parents.
Yeah.
And like props to you for doing that and being open and being vulnerable.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I definitely didn't know I would do that, and I didn't know I would tell, you know, like my dad.
Yeah.
You know?
It is, yeah, it's a little weird, even if it's like...
Well, I guess it's because, like, my dad wasn't in my life growing up, but I guess now that I'm older, we have a closer relationship where I want to tell him things, and it felt nice to tell my dad and know that, like, he would definitely, like, kill someone if needed be.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and then telling my mom, it was nice that she had my back, because since it was a close family member, I just need to know that she knows and that she told people in the family, so that I don't have to, you know, why is Gabby not at Christmas? You know?
Yeah.
Like, now everyone knows,
Yeah.
so I don't have to go.
You have a really good support system coming from your parents. That's awesome.
It's definitely important, and I got really lucky, and honestly, if I didn't tell anyone, it would be bad, and I think that's why it's so important to tell people around you, because they can't help you unless they know.
Yeah, you are, like, you know, on a better path. I'm jealous. Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to share?
I mean, we've had similar experiences, you know, high school party, stuff like that, intoxicated. Mine goes 5 years back. My experience was publicized a lot because I was, you know, like fading in and out of like consciousness and not really understanding what was going on. But people around me at that party were aware of what was happening. They were seeing it happen firsthand.
Yeah.
And So the next day, I was kind of in shock. Not it hadn't hit me yet what had happened, but the first thing I felt was like embarrassment, which looking back is like, that's so stupid. That's what you were worried about, like being embarrassed. But yeah, it was embarrassment about like, oh my God, these people saw this happen to me or saw me doing this. That's really embarrassing. And I hung out with friends that day because like it didn't really hit me yet fully what had happened, but I was still really upset about it. I was really like, oh my God, I just had sex with someone and I didn't know this person. I didn't want to have sex with them. And also everyone saw it happen.
Yeah.
And I'm very like not super emotional in front of people. And I use like humor as a coping mechanism a lot when I am, going through stuff. So whenever I would hang out with my friends, I would, be normal, making jokes, and I could tell by like the looks on my friends' faces. They were kind of confused and concerned because when I told them what happened, they took it seriously. They took it more seriously than I did. And when I was like making jokes or, being normal, they were just like, "Are you okay? Like, are you sure you're fine?" And it wasn't until I was finally alone. I got dropped off at home. I was finally alone that it hit me. I like started crying, started sobbing, called my friend on the phone, and I was like, I didn't want this to happen. I didn't want to have sex. This wasn't like consensual. And she kind of comforted me a little bit. And then I went to take a shower, looked in the bathroom mirror, and I saw all these hickeys on my neck. And I like lost my mind. I lost it. I had a huge like panic attack, and that's when I felt like this disconnection between my mind and my body, like me and my body. And I felt like my body wasn't mine. I felt like I was in someone else's body. Like, it's a really weird feeling. Like,
yeah,
I can't emphasize this feeling. I can't,
right.
words don't do it justice. It's
weird.
really weird. It's like a very unique feeling. And I took a shower and kind of like it had hit me what happened to me and like the extent of like how serious it was. And I was like contemplating who to tell, if I should tell anyone, if I should go to the police, go to the emergency room, get like a rape kit. And at this point I had already showered. The 24 hours had gone by.
You don't think of that when it happens to you. I definitely didn't. I didn't do anything about the situation.
I just didn't know what to do because I was like, wow, everyone I grew up with, everyone I go to high school with saw this happen, and they're not going to understand how the extent of like how bad this is. And no one knows what's happening to me by myself in my bathroom. Like it's a very intimate, like personal experience. And as I was like thinking about like who do I tell, I was like really looking for comfort. Like I really wanted someone to comfort me. And I was thinking like, I can't tell my parents. They can't know I drink. And obviously, like, I'm sure anyone who's listening to this, or even I, like, looking back on that, it's, like, so stupid to think. I can't tell my parents I was raped because I was drinking, but that was, my reasoning. And, I was just, like, really looking for comfort in, like, an adult, like an adult figure. I was thinking about telling my English teacher because I was really close with her, and, I had talked about other personal stuff with her, and, like, throughout the year. Eventually, I just never told anyone. My parents don't know to this day. Most of my friends don't know to this day. I'm pretty sure the only people that know are the people I went to high school with, people that were with me that day. And years have gone by. I transferred high schools. It was just like a thing of the past, something that was, I didn't really think about it that much, but it was just like always there. And I didn't really have, like, any issues in my life, with that. Like, no, PTSD or anything like that. Like, I just had gone on with my life. And then, but now that I'm thinking about it, now that we're talking, because I had experienced, like, minor sexual harassment, like, throughout high school. Like, at work, a coworker, like, a grown man would like flirt with me anytime we were alone in like the stock room, and he would like make his move or whatever, or just anything like small stuff like that. I just would get pissed. Like really pissed. And I thought everyone was like that until, like, coming to college. And, like, my friends get sexually harassed at work, and they just, like, take it. And I'm very defensive, and I'm very protective of them and also, like, myself now. Yeah. And I kind of see, like, where that comes from. But, like, my, like, box of, like, trauma and, you know, emotions didn't really open until last year during the Kavanaugh hearings. And I was seeing all these men defending this rapist and victim shaming, and I took it really personal, and it affected me a lot. I was like, why is this affecting me so much? I just thought I was, like, a huge activist for, you know, women's rights and, like, the Me Too movement and all that. But it was, like, it affected me on a way more personal level, and looking back on it, it was, you know, it's hard to go through, like, the nation voting on a man who is accused of rape to be, like, you know, part of the Supreme Court. And I don't know, that was, like, a big thing for me. And, I mean, you know, talking about it helps.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much people in society will downplay men who do
give them the benefit of the doubt
acts
always.
Like this. You know?
I mean, I've seen it firsthand in college. And I'm, like, you know, I get really protective and defensive these days. And I'm like, it comes from, you know, my experience. And
yeah, it makes you protective of anyone around you.
Because,
you know,
I don't
men
know.
And women.
When it comes to discussing, like, sexual assault, there's, like, this textbook definition of that you're used to learning about. It's like you know, you have this vision of, like, a man kidnapping you and forcing himself on you, or, like, you know, a man luring you into an alley and doing that. And it's not like that. It's not that clear. There's, like, gray areas, and no one discusses those gray areas. That's why people are really misinformed, and don't seek help when they should be, because they don't think that it's, I mean, that was my experience. I was like, I still am really uncomfortable with the word rape, because, I mean, that Monday at school, people were making jokes about it in the hallway, and I just, like, was like, okay, this can't be sexual assault, because people are laughing about it, people are making jokes about it, and I have to accept that.
Well, then you start to think, like, you know, you start asking yourself these questions, like, well, was I really drunk? Did I consent? Did I want to do that?
And you start, like,
and it's like,
victim shaming yourself.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I'm like, if anyone else were doing this to another victim, I would be pissed. I would never let that happen. But it's, like, so much easier to, you know, put yourself down and, like, question yourself. But, I mean, it's been 5 years.
And after having those symptoms of trauma and PTSD, it's like, you're like, okay, this really did happen, and now I need to do what I need to do to heal myself. So,
because, I mean, like, as much as people, I mean, I was 15, my friends were 15, people in the hallway that were making comments were 15. Like, as much as they made jokes about it and whatever, no one knew the discomfort I had with my own body. No one knew the panic attack I had in the bathroom by myself, looking in the mirror. No one knew, like, how much I cried all week. And it was a rough week, because I kind of was really disconnected with my family, too. And I was being a bitch, basically. It's, like, my family, and it was just me, like, going through it and not telling anyone. And I remember one day my brother texted me, and he, like, went off on me. He's like, why do you think you can just do this? Like, why are you acting this way? He was, like, being really rude and mean to me, and I was like, oh, if only you knew. Like, if only you knew what I'm going through right now, because, you know, I'm not.
It's like you're trying to process everything, because, like, so many people have asked me, or I've thought to myself even, like, why didn't I tell my parents sooner, or people closer to me sooner that could actually do something? And it's, like, so easy to just push that away. And also, like, you don't even have the time to really process it, or you want the time to process it, and you don't even know what to think of the situation. You know, when something's new, you're like, what is this? And all these things come up, and so it's just, like, everything at once, and you don't really know what to do with yourself. And
looking back on it, like, my life would have been definitely easier. I would have healed a lot faster, recovered a lot faster if I had told someone.
But no one tells us what to do, you know? It's like everyone's experiences are so different, but it's also, at the end of the day, it's like, you were sexually assaulted, I was sexually assaulted, and like they are similar stories, you know, but not everyone has similar stories, and it's like doesn't mean you weren't sexually assaulted and any more less than I was, you know. So
yeah, that was definitely like a tough part. It was like accepting that it was sexual assault because everyone around me wasn't taking it seriously, and but like when I was having these panic attacks, I was like, "Whew, this is pretty serious. This is affecting me more than I thought it would," and I just had to go through it like by myself, basically, for however long it took me to kind of get back to my normal routine.
Yeah. When do you think things got better?
It was definitely a slow process. I was in theater in high school, and so I had theater after school every day from like whatever time school ended to 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And so I was never really home. Like, I wasn't home that often. And I was, busy, like, doing theater. And that was, like, a huge help to me. Like, theater, like, saved me, like, mentally. Because I was busy. I was with people I loved. I was doing what I loved every day. And this happened, I think, March of my freshman year of high school. So I think around April, I think it took, like, a month for me to, like, get back into the normal pace of stuff. It kind of happened pretty, like, quickly, and it was a pretty, like, rough transition, but, like, you know, I transferred high schools after, so I forgot about it. I was like, this isn't part of my history anymore. People who see me in the hallways now don't know what happened to me, and that's not, like, a thought to them. That's not, like, something they see in me. So it's not something I see in myself anymore. So I kind of just, like, pushed it away. And I never had any negative experiences, you know, if I was having, like, if I was in a relationship or if I was, like, you know, doing stuff, like being touched or whatever. I never had, like, any negative experiences with that. So the transition was a little easier, too. Now that I, you know, was going to a new school, I could keep this past, like, out and hidden. But yeah, it wasn't until freshman year of college that I was like, whoa, this is still there.
Yeah. I guess for me it's like I don't remember what I did. Like, it's like my junior year of high school, I remember I just started being distant with a lot of people. I was like, I know who I cannot trust, and going to a small school, it's like, well, damn, distant with the whole class.
22 kids.
And I only had a few great friends, and I'd rather have a few great friends than a lot of whatever friends. I could never be fake. Like, it's just not in me. You know, if it's not there, it's not there. And definitely was shown who to trust and who not to trust. And I'm thankful for the people that did stick up for me, girls and guys, you know. But I don't remember, like, you know, it's like...
It's not like it took 3 weeks for me to go back to normal. It was, like, very slow.
Right.
And,
but I don't even remember what my passions were at the time. Like, I was on dance team, and I loved dance. And then this happened junior year, I think in the summer. And then, I made it my senior year. I was like, I didn't make dance team, but I made it my senior year, and I didn't make it my junior year. So I guess I don't remember what I was doing at that period, but having that group of girls really helped me. Because it's, you know, just like anything, you need a strong group of women to be surrounded by, and I had that on dance team. And then I guess I didn't have it that summer, or did I? I don't remember the exact date, but I've definitely isolated myself on purpose. Like, didn't want to tell anyone, didn't want to talk to anyone. And then after senior year, moved to Puerto Rico, moved again. Like, I noticed that I kept moving on to different things or different projects, and I just, like, later in therapy found out, like, that was just, like, me not wanting to deal with stuff and confront things. So she did a lot of shifting, but it was definitely important when I, you know, made that decision to go to therapy. And although being groped by someone close to me was not, you know, the plan, I definitely, that day after it happened, confronted everything that I had been pushing away for 4 years. And now I feel more liberated than ever. And I cannot stress how good it is to just talk to someone.
Yeah, I feel liberated too. I mean,
Yeah.
I never went to therapy for any. I still haven't gone. I'm like I'm about to go now, but because if you don't, then that box opens up unexpectedly.
Yeah, it did.
And you do. It sucks.
And I was in a crazy. I never knew that something would affect me like that. Like you think, okay, it's been 4 years. I'm fine. Like, obviously, I still struggled with that. Like any guy looked at my friend weird. Like older men, I was disgusted. I would say something like, literally, was walking my dog. This homeless guy was like, "Hey, cutie," and I was like, "Fuck off." And he was like, "No, your dog." It's like any little thing. Like I'm ready to snap.
Yeah.
Like, don't touch me. Don't talk to me. Like, definitely have up a wall. I don't think I do now. I guess I know my boundaries and things like that, but that's important. But I just didn't know that when that situation happened that I would be like so just thrown off by it. Like was ready to like do some things that I would never do. Like
Murder
you just
someone.
literally like I wanted revenge and I was very upset, and you know, it can look like anyone and you just don't think people like that would do something like that. And now, well, after it happened, and now I'm like, I want everyone to know. Everyone. Like, obviously I'm not going to say the name here, but, you know, it makes you feel better because it's like, you know now. Like, that guy on campus, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if we shared the story.
So there's this person who is friends with my friends. I'm not friends with him. He was accused of rape, and my friends are still, I mean, not friends with him, but, you know, if they see him, they'll say hi. I do not. I give him dirty looks. I am a huge bitch to him. I'm not nice to him at all. If he's in my way, I shove him over. If he's talking to my friends, I give him dirty looks. Like, you know, I'm very, very, like, protective, and I'm very defensive now. And it's really weird seeing people keep giving men the benefit of the doubt. It's odd because
Because they don't do that to women.
And you don't expect that. Like, you would be like, a rape accusation is very serious. I would never, you know, but it's like every day people are just like, oh, but he's a cool guy. He's a good person. He's smart. He does all this. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Literally. It's like too bad people don't walk around with labels on their forehead so that you can like, okay, I'm going to stay away from you. No, you don't know.
Can't trust any man.
Which is why, literally, that's why my guard is always up with anyone. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like, to strangers, because I'm like, I know you, but I don't know them. Like,
Yeah.
So I'm such a, like, walls up kind of person until I know everyone in the situation. And I think, you know, with anything, it's good to be observant and conscious. And when you go out, look around.
Look out for your friends.
And, you know,
if your friends are wasted,
your friends should look out for you
do not let
too.
them go home with someone.
Yeah.
No matter how much they tell you, no, I really want to go home with. No, you do not.
Yeah.
Well, look out for
Make
your
sure
friends.
your friends are in the right mindset.
Have a good support system. Go out with good people. Don't go out with girls that don't care about you or couldn't care less if you went home with someone else while you were wasted and could regret it the next morning, like, more than anything.
That's literally always why, like, I go out with Paige, my best friend. Literally, she was on episode 1. But, like, you know, it's because, like, I know her, and I know at the end of the day that she's going to say something. And let's say I make some new friends. Probably not going to go out if Paige isn't with me because I don't know those people.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going to happen. It's like, you know, different things can make us act differently and do different stuff and these experiences, but it's life, and it's like, I guess I'll just have to take this experience and use it the best I can and help other people.
Yeah. All I can do is be there for someone else. I can't, like, my own shit is my own shit that I have to go through, but I will always be there for someone else. I can say, you know, I'm with you. I know what you're going through. Obviously, I don't want to have to say that to someone. I wouldn't wish this on anyone. But, you know, if a friend of mine or anyone, even a stranger, like, were to come to me and open up about, you know, something like this, I would be there and I would understand.
Yeah.
without judgment, because I had to go through the judgment, like one of the worst judgments of like, you know, people I grew up with and saw in the hallways every day.
When you had went through your experience, was there anyone around you that had went through something similar?
Kind of. I texted a friend of mine the day after it happened, and because I knew she had a similar experience, and I was just like, I feel really disconnected. I feel like this weird feeling of like being disconnected from my body. I feel so weird. And she was like, I felt the same exact way. I took like a 5-hour-long shower, and I don't know, just like having someone understand is so powerful, and like being able to share your experience is, I don't know, it makes you feel less alone. It was like that comfort that I needed, that I didn't know I needed.
Yeah. And was she someone you initially wanted to tell?
No, I didn't really want to tell anyone. Like, I wanted comfort, but I didn't want to tell anyone. And that was like the thing that held me back from getting help, or, you know, doing the proper things that I needed to do to move on and heal. And to, you know, like to this day, I never talk about this, but here I am talking about it. I'm putting it out there.
Thank you.
Thank you. And, you know, looking back, I wish I got the proper help and dealt with this in like a healthy way, because, you know, that box is just...
It's crazy how many people can relate, though. Because when I didn't tell anyone the first time around, 4 years ago, there was no one I knew that had went through this. Fast forward to now, in August when this happened to me, I told my aunts, my tias, which I'm close to, mom, dad, grandma, and all the women in my life were sexually assaulted. And I was just like, whoa.
Yeah. Happens way too often.
Yeah.
Happens to, you never know. You just never know.
And I mean, all different stories. I mean, relatives, friends, strangers. You don't ever know. And it's important to talk about it because, you know, your parent could have gone through it. Your grandparent could have gone through it.
Like I said, like just having a shared experience and talking about it with someone else who understands is just like makes you feel so much less alone, and like makes you feel like, okay, this person went through it, I can go through it, and they're here to help me because they went through it too. It's yeah. Well,
I'm glad you came on today to talk about your story.
And thank you for, you know, having me and being here with me, being a support system.
Yes, thank you for being with me.
Story.
I couldn't have shared it, honestly, if you weren't here with me, because finding out that you had went through something similar encouraged me to share my story. And I feel comfortable sharing my story with you and everyone on the internet.
Everyone on Spotify and Apple Music? Yes. Yeah, well, to anyone who's listening, Anastasia and Anastasia,
we're out.
We're out. Peace out.
Thank you guys for listening. I'll see you every Sunday. Bye.